So I'm Cassie, and I'm Jennifer's upline, and I'm also a team leader on the Team Freedom page. And I wanted to hop on here and talk to you a little bit about vendor events. And vendor events, they're kind of my jam. I love them, and I do a lot of them. So I'm sorry, my chandelier is kind of glaring behind my head. I hope you could see okay. But I set up kind of a little bit of what my display normally looks like when I do a vendor event. I don't have all of my stuff because I let one of my girls on my team borrow it, but this kind of gives you an idea, and I'll just walk you through what I do. So when it comes to display items, first of all, you want to add a little bit of height and dimension to your table. You don't want everything to be just, flat laid out on the table. You want to be able to create some dimension and catch people's attention. At the same point, you don't want to spend much money on your display. Everything that I have, I either made myself or I got it at the dollar store for $1. Hey Jennifer, I see you hopping on. Um, anyway, so everything was $1, and then the little display board, I made that myself, and I actually saw another tutorial of one that I thinking I'm going to do instead, where somebody took some shutters and cut them in half, and then you put what's it called, like the foam board behind it, and then you could just slip all of the styles inside of it. And I feel like you could display them however you want, but I feel like if you have something kind of like this, or some people use little picture trees where you normally slide the pictures in, and just anything that has everything kind of out and open where you can see it. You can do like a binder with your stuff inside the binder, but I found if they could look at your stuff and see everything kind of all at once, that they are more likely to buy it because they don't have to sit there and flip through a book. So anyways, I'm gonna bring this over a little bit and kind of show you what I got. So here I just got my display of the sets I have, and I have a pricing sheet. I usually have some little easels with things that say things like book a party and enter a raffle, that kind of stuff. And like I said, I loan those out to a friend. This is just a little tray with samples on it, and then nail polish remover, alcohol swabs, and a few files. And then you want to have some catalogs and business cards if you have them. And then these are drawing slips to do a raffle, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. And then these are some little prizes that I do that we'll talk about in a minute also. So the number one thing with vendor events, you're there to get sales, but the big thing is to make contacts. So you don't have to worry about it if you don't have a ton of inventory. Usually what I do, if I don't have a lot of inventory, I'll give some incentive for them to order right then and there. So I'll say, they could have, I'll cover free shipping if they do at least a buy three, get one free. Or one of my friends, Cindy, she actually took a bunch of balloons and put little prizes in each one, like a little mini nail file, or just things that were super cheap, didn't cost her very much money, maybe $1 or $2, and actually blew up the balloons. And if anybody ordered, they got to pop a balloon and they got the prize inside of it. And the grand prize was they got their entire order covered, if they got the grand prize. So I'm not saying you have to do anything that big, but that's just, some ideas. I find that doing the free shipping, it actually works. It works really well for me if I don't have a lot of inventory. Whenever I do an event, I have a little folder behind me, and I have all of my customer product forms. If you are, if you have somebody doing it with you, or you're not too busy, you could try to put it in on the computer right then and there, and then you don't have to worry about things like the back orders. But if not, you could always just ask them to pick a substitute if one of those happens to be out of order. I usually keep a running list available, what's out of stock. I mean, you can find that on your back office if you didn't know that yet. When you first log in, you can scroll down and it will tell you everything that's out of stock or when it's expected to come back. So I keep a running list of what's out of stock. So when I say, one of the main things is to get contacts, what I do is one of these little raffles, and here's the sheet again so you could see. And after the craft fair, you want to make sure you follow up with all of your contacts. The other thing you want to do is, you see down here, I have, if they're interested in either hosting a nail bar or becoming a stylist, or if they want to be updated on our latest designs. So what I do is I take my little jar, and I don't have my usual raffle jar. It's almost like a little cookie jar thing. And I turn it backwards So it's facing behind the table. So they have to hand me the sheet and I have to put it in the jar. And by doing that, I could look at their sheet and say, oh, hey, Jennifer, you know, you said you wanted to host a nail bar. If you want to put that on the calendar right now, I will give you an extra prize just for, you know, doing it. And then at that point, those are what my little prizes are over there. You could do whatever you want. Since it's Christmas, I have a few little Christmas coffee mugs and stuff. But normally, I found these at the dollar store. Sorry, I'm trying to get lined up on the camera. And it's just a little buffer block and a cute little file. And these were only $2. And so that's one of the things that I'll do as an incentive if they sign up right then and there. Or, you know, you could do cute little nail file. We also do, you could do like a scratcher ticket where they could scratch it and they could win a prize. Anyways, so then once they do that, I have a little packet that, and I always have a bunch of these made up before I go. And these are some sheets, and you could actually ask Jennifer for these, or you could find them on the main page, the battle, I don't know, they changed the name of it, but it's the field guide one where they talk about how to do a nail bar. And you could actually print all this stuff out. Sorry, this is my first time doing it on the laptop, so it's more backwards. Yep, Jennifer says Ulta has some cute sets for $2 right now. And they have their, isn't it, you get 10 for $5 or 5 for 10 or something right now, I think. Anyway, so this is just, these are all sheets that you can find on the page, or if not, we could send them to you. But this is just some, you know, tips that they talk about. And this is what I send to all of my hostesses. And then a cute little wish list form. And this is a kind of like a catch a vision type of sheet where it says what's it like to be a stylist, and then just a sheet with the host benefits. So I go ahead and give them that, and then I also put a card, a catalog like this, and then I pre-bag up some samples. Hold on, I left it over here. Sorry, let me grab it real quick. Sorry. Okay, so I take, and this is what I do also, just I carry these in my purse. So when somebody says, hey, I love your nails, you know, I just put a sample with an alcohol swab and a business card inside a little baggie. And then as soon as they say I like it, I'll pull it out and ask if they want to try it. But anyway, so I put a few of these in my hostess pack also. And, you know, tell them that you want to try to get them on 3 friends' fingers within however many days, a week, whatever, depending on when their party is. And then if they say they want to join, then, you know, you could have a conversation with them right then and there also. Because sometimes I found a lot of times if you let them leave without talking about it there, a lot of times, you know, they don't follow through. Whereas if you get the nail bar on the calendar right then and there, then they're more likely to follow through. So I always have my calendar with me, and I'll block out dates of when I'm available. Other than that, so then after you're done with the raffle, you're always going to want to follow up with everybody who filled this out. And going back to the raffle, usually what I do for a prize is I'll do shopping credit, and I'll usually do about $10 just because that's less than it is to get a full set. And usually if you offer $10, they'll do a buy 3 get 1 free. So that commission would cover the cost of $10 shopping credit. But anyway, so you want to follow up. I actually added on mine a preferred method of contact because sometimes I would call them and they would never answer, or, you know, they don't ever check their email. So I usually do whatever their preferred method of contact is. When it comes to actually sitting at the vendor event, you're going to have to work to draw people into you. When they walk by, they're going to automatically assume that they're the other company that starts with a J. And they're going to walk right by, and sometimes they'll even say, oh, look, it's Jamberry or whatever. And my line is whenever somebody, you know, makes eye contact with me, you know, I'll say, hey, you know, good morning, how are you? And then, you know, as soon as they respond, I'll just say, would you like to try a sample dry nail polish? And usually at that point, you'll get them to your table. And as soon as you get one person there, more times than not, you're going to get a group of people there. And then you're going to try to, you know, usually at that point, you could do a sample on one person and let everybody watch what you're doing. But I'm not joking when I say vendor events are magical. And most of the vendors are watching us saying, they'll come over and say, what are you selling over here? You always have such a crowd. And it's so much fun, but you have to bring them into your table because otherwise, they'll walk by because they'll assume they've seen it before. So those are the main tips I have. If you don't have, things like business cards, you don't need to worry about it too much. On my catalogs, I'll print out little stickers and put my information on the catalog so that way it's there. You can also, if you wanted something to pass out, you could go to Walmart and they sell little packs from Avery, and it's actual business cards that you could pop apart and print them out. And you could do that too, but I always like to say don't spend any money until you're making money. So always try to do it, with the least money possible until you're starting to make the money. So I think that's about it. Main things are, add some dimension to your table, have the height and the different things to catch people's eyes, do the raffle, and you always want to ask before you put their sheet in, if they want to do the party on the calendar, and, just have fun, draw people in, and have fun with it because they're always a lot of fun. So if you have questions, even if you're watching this late, you could comment and I will check back later to see what you have to say. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.